So, guys, since the thing we're going to talk about today is so arid at some point, because it's mining industry, we'll begin on a high note. We want Eduardo Martinez recipe for the world. We know the guys around you looking and listening to us from South Korea, the United States, India, United Kingdom, Australia, Hawaii, which is a part of the United States. But anyway, Argentinian recipe, what is called summer wine, or in Spanish, vino de verano.
Okay. One bottle of wine?
Yeah, one bottle of which one? Red
wine.
Red wine.
You're talking about
wine is
summer
red
wine.
Yeah,
Is red
totally
wine.
Right. Yeah.
Red wine.
Okay.
Some maraschino liquor.
Maraschino.
Cherry liquor.
Cherry liquor.
Let's say 4 ounces.
4 ounces.
Oranges.
Orange, how many? 2, 3? 3, okay.
Sliced.
But you put them on the jar.
On a jar, yes. Let's say lots of ice.
Lots of ice.
It's mainly the secret, lots of ice.
Okay.
And Sprite, 7-Up, or any lime soda.
Okay. And that is called...
In that order.
In that order. And you mix it?
You
or
should stir it.
Stir it, okay. And that's
it's not shaken, it's stirred.
Like James Bond.
Like James Bond.
Okay, and doesn't the because the problem I have with wine and ice is that the ice dilutes the wine. And it gets me...
You are mixing wine with oranges, with liquor,
but it's totally different.
And with soda.
One thing is to mix them and the other is to dilute them. To dilute the wine is a sin.
No, the only thing that dilutes...
never diluted
the only
wine.
thing that dilutes drinks is the ice. Sorry.
But but what I mean is the ice doesn't dilute the other thing that you're doing with the
oranges.
Thank God
it does that, because otherwise...
It will be trip.
Yes.
You'll be tripping.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the secret.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so welcome to our episode 20. Now we are setting into, yes, amazing. Here's our producer, Ignacio Nacho Hermojo.
Yuppie!
We had one very successful, mostly thanks to Eduardo and Matías. I did nothing, but I'm going to jump on the victory wagon anyway. Very, very successful mining industry event here. We hosted it 2 weeks ago in Buenos Aires with our friends from a company in Chile,
Capital
Networks, and ourselves from Moore Business Embassy. And it was a success, I believe, for 2 reasons. One is we had an attendance of plus 50 people, and that this wasn't open to the general public. It was mining industry, at least 50.
And just by invitation.
Yes, by invitation. And that's what I wanted to emphasize. People paid for this event. This is what paid for, and it was pretty expensive. And so those people really wanted to be there, and they were industry experts. That's one. I know that perhaps in America and the US, you say 50 people, that's very small. But Argentina and Chile, that's a lot. And the second thing was the depth of everything that was spoken in that event. So what we want to bring to you is what was said and what are the outcomes from that mining event, because honestly, I did not expect it to be so fruitful and to really have that attendance and to be not successful, but really to have such a long-term possibilities. One important disclosure is we're going to talk about Argentina and Chile, which is our sister country. The 3 of us are Argentinos, so we are very patriotic, but we're going to bring you our very honest professional assessment. And when we say something is going great, it's not us being patriotic, it's just what we believe. And then we'll also say if something is not right, you can trust us. We will say when things are challenging or difficult or things are not working fine. So first thing first, what was the main conclusion we can draw from this industry summit and gathering on mining? I have one, but I wanted you guys to say your piece.
I think that my main take the main thing I take home from the event is there is a lot of interest and lot of, because there is a lot of potential in the mining sector, but also there are quite a lot of challenge still to solve. There are many issues, but Argentina is underproducing, or it's on its capabilities. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of development still to achieve. Okay. But there are a lot of things to do to be able to achieve that, and those are the main challenge that were discussed on the event, and perhaps we can then talk about a little some of them. But I think that the main topic of the event was that on one hand the huge potential of the industry, and on the other hand a lot of things that need to be done and to develop to be able to convert those opportunities, the potential in reality.
Okay, turn them into reality. Okay.
To build up on Matías' words, on one hand, I've seen genuine interest. That is, okay. It's not only interest. It's just, okay, I go, I can pay for the event and I go. I saw genuine interest in what Argentina can develop in the mining industry, on one hand. On the other hand, I think we have a lot to learn from Chile. Okay. I saw that it's not just an industry; it's mainly a government act or a government policy.
A state policy.
State policy.
It doesn't change.
It doesn't change. They have a clear map, a clear roadmap on where to go and where they want it to be. And I think we have to learn a lot from them in order to catch up more quickly on the possibilities that Argentina has. And under my own vision, we have the same mountains on one hand than in the other. So maybe I may be wrong, but I think that if Chile was able to develop such an industry, something similar might happen to us. And I think we have the potential for that.
Okay. One of my takes was exactly that. One of the experts, Alejandro, said something that really struck me. For those of you that don't know, Argentina is the 8th largest country in the world. 80% of Argentina's surface can be cultivated for agro. And then there's another huge part, I guess is 50%, that is extremely rich in rare materials. Yeah. Like we have lithium, we have uranium, of course there is copper, of course there is iron, etc., etc., etc. But of that surface, that is the potential of the country, only 7% is being exploited, if I'm not wrong. So Alejandro said, he's one expert from Chile, said Argentina can be the next Chile. And I have great admiration for Chile and for its management and, of course, its state policies. That was the thing that really struck me. And one of the things that also struck me is the lack of know-how that we in Argentina have. So if I were an outside foreign investor, the first thing I would be thinking about is, how do I invest in this country with huge possibilities? And this is a question I'm formulating, that is so underdeveloped in know-how, in technology, and even in knowing its own capacities. Because we Argentinos do not know what we have. So what would be our roadmap to become like Chile? I'm not saying like Canada or maybe India or the United States, which are highly developed, but at least like Chile. What do you think, guys, could be our roadmap if we were to speak to foreign investors?
I will start.
How do we do this?
I will start adding something to what Eduardo said. That was something that was also mentioned in the event. Last year, in a conference, Federico Sturzenegger, one of the functionaries of the Argentinian government,
Yeah, he's a minister, so
he said that or God put all the minerals on the other side of the Andes, or on this side of the Andes, we're all stupid.
okay,
Ah.
okay.
That was not the word, but it's more
Yeah,
polite.
pretty much.
Yeah.
He's more
The
polite
guy
than
was
we are.
a little bit stronger. Certainly, there's a lot of potential. There are a lot of resources. Probably now we have more resources than Chile because the Chilean industry is more mature and they have extract more minerals than us. But referring to the state policy, currently the 50% of the GDP belongs to the mining sector in Chile. In Argentina, it's just a small percentage. It has a lot of potential to grow, but we need to cover those gaps between what you mentioned. We have some issues in infrastructure. We don't have the technicians that we need, and that's why also a lot of course, the issues with credit, with financing the project, stability on those projects, because many of them or mining project takes a lot of time. It's not just something that you develop and on the next month you're getting profits. You have to think in long terms. But there are a lot of we need a lot of improvement, and also I think that we can take a look on what Chile had done to develop their industry, and also there are a lot of Chilean companies that have the technology, the know-how, and also can do some partnership with companies in Argentina that also have technology, they have good technicians, but perhaps will get support on their know-how on this development and try to develop things together. It's there is also, sorry if I extend a little bit, there is also a potential arrangement to be done between both countries to export our mineral through Chile, just going through the Andes and not having to go to the Atlantic, which is quite far from the Andes.
Okay, yeah.
But that needs a lot of discussions and agreements between both countries, which is not easy to get. Also, when you do not have state policies, because Chile has those state policies for mining, we don't.
Yeah. So for just for you to know, Argentina doesn't nearly have state policies on mostly anything, or at least not that I know of. Perhaps some issues about the national security, cooperation with the United States and NATO, etc. But otherwise, we have zero state policies. So we're not asking anyone to bring out the state policies. That's on us. But what we need to have, and one of the best opportunities, I believe, is this know-how. And the second one, and now I want to go into technology, of course, which is Edu's expertise. If I were, again, a foreign investor, I wouldn't think in terms of Argentina or Chile. I would begin thinking in both countries, because Argentina has all the potential. For my understanding, Argentina has 8 times the size of Chile, of the territory. So one would suppose you can extrapolate that to the mining capacity or the potential. Perhaps it's even more, perhaps a little less. And Chile has all the know-how. So I would think in both countries, like someone who knows exactly what to do and is like a local, because this is South America, Latin America. And then again, the huge opportunities of this totally fertile but unexploited land.
So you think
Does it make sense?
We should treat it as a mining pole or something like
Yes,
that?
exactly so. I would think in terms of the southern cone, or at least 2 countries in South America, which are, of course, 2 different countries, different cultures. But we and Chile, we are not that different. We are different in many ways, but it's not that huge of a difference. Okay, that's the first thing, or perhaps a pole or something like that. The second one is about the infrastructure. We're going to talk about the infrastructure, but one of the things that stuck in my head like a woodpecker is technology.
Yeah.
So what about technology? What do we have and what do we lack? And
Okay.
then what would you do about it?
Let's move away logistics or that
Yeah,
kind of
sure.
technology.
Yeah, of course.
That seems very basic,
Okay.
but we lack a lot of that.
Of course,
And
yes.
I think that
Yes, we're
should
going
be
to talk about
primarily
infrastructure.
the first thing to do.
Yes.
You don't have roads, you do not have trains, you do not have either navies. So
Yeah.
unless you think of taking or exporting through Chile, and you have to do a lot to go through Chile, then you have to build up all the network the logistic network.
Okay.
Okay, but let's leave that aside. In terms of the other technology, if I was speaking, let's say, a couple of years before, the first one should be clearly networking or telecommunications networks in order to provide the sites with more technology.
Okay.
That's something somehow covered nowadays for the satellite networks.
Satellite networks. Okay.
Let's say the
Starlink.
Starlinks of
Starlinks.
this world. That is mainly covered nowadays. The problem is that kind of technology is not stable. You have some peaks, and in some different system you need to run in the sites, you need a more steady connection. But that will be mainly the first one. The second one is to have established, let's say, closest data centers to the sites.
Okay.
Why? Not only for mining, because if you operate closest to the mine, the latency you need is below, and you can collect data where the things happens. But also you can grow up in that industry, providing data centers to the other industries that are located in the provinces that have the mining industry. Taking into consideration that as the weather is very friendly in terms of coolness, in terms of positioning, and in terms of where they are located, it's a clear opportunity that we have to build different data centers close to the mines, because they will require less amount of capex to build them up. But the other technology we need is the electrical, to have
Electrical.
power. To have power.
So let me summarize this to see if I get it right. First, we need telecommunications, satellite communications. I would put electricity first.
Yeah, agree.
Which is amazing to think that we don't have enough
But
electricity.
it's 4,000 meters high.
I know. For you, of course. For all of those of you
It's
who
not in your
don't know
backyard.
this, the Andes mountain cordon that runs along the whole American continent, the west side of the American continent, beginning in the low California and extending itself to from Peru, etc., to the south of the Patagonia, is one of the widest, more compact, and highest in the world. We have the Aconcagua, which is one of the largest mountains, tallest mountains.
It's the largest mountain in America.
Largest mountain in America, and the third, I believe, or fourth in the world. Like comes the K2, the Everest, something like that. And I'm not sure.
No, you have the Himalayas 8K.
8K, yes.
And below that, comes the
Aconcagua.
It's high,
so
close to 6K.
6 kilometers high. So all of these developments we are talking about are in very tough terrain.
Yeah.
It's very difficult because the Andes Mountains are very steep. Very steep.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to build the roads, and it's very difficult to power.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, I believe that if humanity was able to put a man on the moon and build dikes and artificial islands, we can master cables to that, bring
but
electricity.
that's why you need a state
More than
policy.
anything,
Because as you're talking, in those areas, you have no population. So as the electrical companies are also another industry, another business, unless they have the amount of money they require to build up those infrastructure, if you don't have a state policy
that is one of the things I wanted to talk about, which is government policies and government stimuli for the economic sector. I am sure, I am positive that both in Canada, I know this to be in Germany because I once worked for a energy oil company in Germany for a very short time. In Chile, etc., the government steps in to build infrastructure when it is needed. We could have a solar park, we could have windmills parks. We have a lot of waterways with currents that could generate hydroelectrical, etc., thermal energy. We don't need to make the energy in an atomic central 4,000 kilometers away and then have a wire. We could build it on the place. And that's where the government must step in. Right? Am I right?
Yeah, of course. And there are small mining areas now that can be commercially exploited.
Yeah.
But just because other bigger areas were developed and all the infrastructure were built by the companies there. So once that you have electricity, internet, or roads to get quite close to those areas, now it's not too expensive, and you can develop those smaller areas because it's not too expensive to extend the road, or at least you can use the internet that your friend in a huge area had already done. So, but mainly it's because of private investment.
I know, I understand. I am totally pro private investment, but I do believe that the governments can step in to master and to stimulate the sector and build the basic infrastructure. I mean, the roads belong to the country; they don't belong to.
Yes, but in the mining sector, roads are made by the mining companies mainly. But that's because there is if they don't. No one is going. They cannot get there.
Okay.
But I think also it's a state policy that we don't have, that we should, but we don't.
Before I ask this question, one of the keynote speakers that we had was a man, I forgot the name, I apologize, who was a member of the government, right? And one of the things he spoke about was this, but also he spoke about the lack of resources. So I believe that this goes also for all of these people working in embassy. We had people from the British embassy, we had people from the French embassy in this event. I wish we had people from the Chinese and Indian embassy, but we will get them at some point. That's going to be my job. They spoke about these joint ventures between governments and companies, right?
Yes.
No. Let me know your outcomes.
No,
what
the government is doing is with the implementation of the RIGI.
What is the RIGI? Let's explain to someone. It's a tax
incentive for investment over 200 million. Yeah. Currently, there are like six projects approved, and 10 or 12 under analysis for the government. And they, if those are approved, they are expecting in not just 1 year, but in many years of that the project lasts, around $47,000 million of investment. That and they will get tax incentives because of that. But that's what the government is doing to accelerate those projects. But in my opinion, it's not enough. There should be more investment. At least, as you mentioned, do the roads at least.
Yes.
let me do the other thing. But at least I need some trains. I need ports. I need roads because it's very difficult then when you extract the minerals. To exports, because it's you extract the mineral 4,000 meters in the middle of the Andes. Yeah. I need. How can I get those to a port? By truck. The roads there are no roads there. By train there are no railways.
Yes, and even if
it's not easy.
And using a plane is
it's complicated. No, and even if you could use a truck, you cannot use a 16-wheeler in the mountains, because there is no way you can use a 16 or 18-wheeler in those mountains. Even if you had the best roads in the world, it would be nearly impossible because of the geography and the topography. So that also needs a train. Or there are other ways to bring materials. You don't need to like a train or a road. There are like these huge, amazing railways that do not use a train. They are automated. I've seen them work in places like China and etc. But again, we need to step in, and the government needs to step in, and companies needs to step in. Let me go back to the technology that is needed. So we talked about basic infrastructure.
Yes.
In the end, we said roads, we need trains, we need to
Electricity.
develop electricity, we need to develop communications, satellite communications. Okay, let's assume for a moment that we are working on it, and that's part private, that's part government, and the government is willing and able, and this is something I need to give them, willing and able to do that. What else is needed in there? I mean, artificial intelligence, I don't know, automation, I don't know, e-commerce, vending machines, whatever.
No. Basically, you have, let's say, two big buckets of technologies.
Okay.
On one hand, the exploring technologies. That is very developed.
Okay.
Geologists are very technology friendly, they're very techy. So they use a lot of technology applications to not only search and try to find the best, I don't say how you say beta, but the best way to find the mineral.
Yes.
But
let
also
me check. Go ahead.
But
and
also
check,
to
we don't pretend here to know every word.
But also to predict where there should be the best place to
extract the mineral.
To extract. And that technology is available and they use it. On the other hand,
available, but it's expensive.
Both things. It's available and it's expensive. But the ROI you have under or the return on investment on that technology is huge. Because if you happen to find the exact place on where to dig, the return is immediate.
Pardon me, I'm sorry. Beta is a vein. Here a producer knew it. A producer, he said, he looked for it. Okay, thank you very much.
Our producer is Copilot.
Okay,
or ChatGPT.
Okay, yes, I use ChatGPT. Yes, I use ChatGPT. This is we are sponsored by
OpenAI.
OpenAI. No, we're not. But we could. We could.
In fact, they are going to install the data centers
Yes,
there
they
in
say they're
Patagonia.
bringing
So
They said they want to
20,000.
invest 25,000
25,000.
show me the money.
25,000 million.
That was
I
25
haven't seen
billions
those.
for
25
you
billion, yeah.
English speaking.
Haven't
Okay.
seen those yet.
Yeah.
No, I can't
So
see it.
OpenAI, show me the money.
Show me the
Yes,
money,
show me
yes.
money.
And big face.
Come on, Sam. Come on.
Bring the big faces.
Yeah, the Franklins. We want to see the Franklins. Okay, so Beta de Oro will be a gold vein or an iron vein or whatever.
That's one part of the technology. The other hand is the more industrial technology.
Okay.
Is the one you can use to let's track all the industrial task you perform on a mine and to bring them back. There's another kind of technology that is more related to how autonomous operation or the more autonomous operation you can have.
Okay.
You can have trucks, autonomous trucks, autonomous diggers, autonomous
Self-driving trucks in a mine. Okay.
Yes, completely. That is not much popular in Argentina yet, but you can have it, and it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
And then you have the commercial application that any ERP you can use. Mainly the 4 or 3 things will be there. Something related to personal safety must be driven there.
Okay.
And again, you can use computer vision or artificial intelligence to monitor dangers or risks in personal safety and track them as soon as you can see them.
Okay.
Or a camera can see it. But again, if you lack of connectivity, if you lack of data centers, and if you lack of, let's say, basic infrastructure, it will be hard to grow up on there.
Okay.
The other problem you might find there, and it's not a problem on the industry, it's a problem of any industry or any people sitting or standing in my shoes, is that technology competes again digging a new vein or having a new truck or having a new place to develop.
How and why does it compete? How?
Because it's
does it-
capex intensive.
It's
Or
capex.
required.
Okay. You mean in terms of
the
resource,
technology
of
capex
financial resources? No, okay.
fights against the mining capex or the tracking
yeah,
capex.
of course, okay.
But that's part of life.
You either have to choose if you want the exploring robot,
Yes.
the exploring drone, or
Or we more,
yes,
or we more
the
technology capable.
self-driving car. Okay.
Yeah.
And also that because of the lack of financing, because
Yes.
you have to do one or the other. You cannot get a loan
Yeah.
to do both.
Yeah,
Or
agree.
if your forecast or that the return on investment is good,
Yes.
you have no chance because there is no
Yeah.
way to finance those.
And in some points, mainly I think, and that may happen in the Argentine market, is that you also see technology as with the eyes of OPEX.
Not as an investment.
Not an investment. It's just a profit or
that-
loss.
That is so 20th century. I mean,
Eh,
to see technology. Who in the world of today?
you have a couple of days, I can make you a list.
Because they were, where were they sleeping? In a tomb, like in the tomb of Tutankhamun or
no,
something like that? That they
but
woke up
they
and
say-
said,
they say-
technology is not an investment, it's an expense. Who the fuck? I'm sorry. Who in God's
Most
green
people
world?
that you may think. In the internet is where the technology is the product, you don't see or you will not find those kind of things, but in other things you will find it. In the agriculture, 1 acre of land competes with 2 servers. In, let's say, in the retail industry, open up a new store, competes again in building up some client interfacing through an app.
Yes.
That's life. It's
No, I
part of-
understand. It's market conditions, but it's
Yeah.
also a matter of mindset. A matter of
Yes.
mindset. So if it's,
We're
it's-
still
it's-
living in a very physical world.
okay, here,
Yeah,
in,
not in a digital world.
this is happening only in Argentina or in the rest of Latin America.
Now, I think Latin America should be an example. It may vary a little bit in Europe or in more developed markets.
Okay.
Okay? Because you have to develop the market.
Yeah, sure. Of course.
But in my point of view, you can begin on the digital world. The problem is that the gold or the lithium or it's physical. So
Okay.
you cannot you can trade minerals
I understand.
online. You cannot extract it. You cannot.
But I
ship
have
it.
I have a somewhat different. But I want to hear Matty's opinion on this, and then I'll go with that.
No, I agree with Eduardo. I think that we are talking about minerals and development. We are still on the Stone Age. There's a lot of things to do.
That's a great phrase.
Yeah.
The Stone Age. This is going to be the name of our chapter. The Stone Age. Nacho, could you
the
please
Stone Age,
remember
Stone
this?
Age.
Because I will forget. The Stone Age. Thank you very much.
And I think that those potential developments, we are the government or because this is not something that the companies will do, but the government also will have to consider that this brings a lot of development for the different provinces, for the different areas, because as you mentioned, then you need somewhere where the technicians can stay. You need hotels, you need restaurants, you need catering, you need a lot of local
So many
vendors.
things that we don't want to mention.
Schools,
Of course.
hospitals.
Yes, of course. Clinics. Dental clinics.
Yeah.
So many opportunities for services.
And also there
It
are a lot
gets
of-
so lonely up in the mountain. I'm sorry.
then there are a lot of things that will develop the area. The province will bring more employment to more population, because in San Juan, for example, it's a province that grew a lot due to the mining sector, increasing the jobs, their infrastructure, different things that are related indirectly to the mining sector. I think that all this development should also be considered as indirect development for those areas.
I think we will go through some employee shift in terms of many people will have to go where the work is, and we're still thinking that the work should be where I live,
Yeah, well,
mainly
that's-
in the big cities. So
Yes.
if that industry continues evolving and continues developing,
Yes.
you will find
A
let's say
migration.
a migration from agriculture business to mining business, or from construction to mining.
Or from services to
Yeah.
mining and
Yeah,
oil and energy.
If you have the open mind to move to the interior of the country, it's something you have to develop as a country.
Yes, well, 60% of the population of Argentina is located in 3 metropolitan areas.
Yeah.
There is Buenos Aires city, the capital, and the surrounding areas, which is somewhat as large as the greater Los Angeles area, so you can have an idea of comparison. Then there is Rosario, and then there is Cordoba.
Yeah.
The both, I don't know which is greater, but so 60% of the country.
Depending who you're talking to.
Yes, of course, of course. Provincial issues we don't want to
we don't
mention,
know.
of course. But that high concentration at some point needs to move. But then again, the thing is, what do people? If you are a librarian, or if you are a dance teacher, what do you do for the mining industry? Well, perhaps you can go teach dancing lessons to the crews or the people, to miners. I don't know, it could work. I don't know, it could work. But the reconstruction, the reorganization has to be done on a timely based, organized on a timely based.
But you have an example in Vaca Muerta.
And how does it work? Vaca Muerta, if anyone doesn't know, is a part of the Patagonia. It's called the Triangle of Vaca Muerta, which translates literally to dead cow.
Yeah.
Where there is some of the largest oil reserves in the world.
Yeah.
Please, you do not need to send any aircraft carrier. We are already extracting it and sending it over and selling it over at great prices. So don't worry about sending any
non-conventional. No?
Exactly.
It's a non-conventional.
Do not worry about sending any troops or anything. We are up for sale.
But you have
honestly,
an example there where that area evolves together with the oil and gas industry, and you have a lot of new cities, new citizen development. Sorry for my English. That came along with the extraction of the oil. So I think something similar will have to happen in the mining industry, developing new poles or new mining poles that require, as Mati says, mainly cities where you can live on.
And what about the manpower? We're speaking about internal migration. What about the manpower? Do we have the amount of engineers? I teach at one of the best universities in engineering schools and engineering universities in Argentina, and I teach an MBA in 2 different master's degrees, and I have at the most I've had 18 students. So in 1 year, that tells you, and I teach also in an MBA, a regular school of economics and a school of business, and I have 120. So that tells me there is a huge disparison between what we produce, lots of MBAs for economics, and very few oil, gas, lithium, mining engineers, and etc. Or at least, very least, specialists. You could be in the communications field or the public sector or whatever, and also be a doctor specialized in this. So, do we have the manpower? And if not, are we producing enough manpower, or do we need to bring it from overseas?
You call.
Okay, it's my turn.
Okay.
No,
Tricky question.
I think that we are not producing enough. As Eduardo said, the oil and gas industry had the same issue. They had to develop a specific institute to train technicians for the oil and gas industry. In the mining sector, perhaps we are having, or we are going to have the same issue because we do not have enough geologists or data science or different specialties for the sector. So, and that's also a thing that needs a joint venture between the private companies and the government. In case of Vaca Muerta, the private sector do a lot of effort also to develop an institute for that. and we will need probably that also for the mining sector. And you mentioned the manpower, or mentioned reallocating in different to the mining areas, but I think that for that reason is why the state policy is important, because those projects takes a lot of time to get to develop. So if you take the decision to move to another place, to a province with your family, to stay there for many years, it's quite a huge decision. And if there is a change in the government, and they go back with every development, so you move to another province, to another perhaps a small town, small area close to the Andes, where there's a lot of things still. You don't have all the services that you could have here in Buenos Aires. You move there, okay. Then they change the government, the mining project is closed because it's not profitable to keep developing that, and you have nothing, and you have to go back.
Yeah.
So those decisions needs also state policies, so you can forecast and say, okay, I move there because this project will be for 10, 15, 20 years. Of my life to stay there, or it could be just a couple of months, and then there will be nothing there because no one is going to invest anymore.
Okay,
that's an issue for manpower and for foreign technicians, or to develop new technicians for the mining industry.
Okay, so in order to wrap these things up, there is so much more we can explore. We're already 45 minutes into the show, and to begin bringing this home, I want to make sure. I was joking in the beginning that Mati and Edu did most of the legwork, which is true also, but that gave me a vantage point. When I sat down, I began doing networking, etc., and listening and trying to learn, because I knew that I know very little now, but most of what I learned in this summit we created. But that vantage point also gave me the opportunity to make like a mapping, a strategic assessment. And the strategic assessment will begin by two simple words. These are my words. My strategy would be explore and build.
Yeah.
Or build, perhaps not even build, is to construct. Like building is like when you have something and you make it better.
Okay.
I'm sorry. So we need to do the basic, the very, very absolute total basic. Like we need pavement on roads.
Yeah.
We need electricity. I don't know how you're going to get it. That's why you have engineers. I'm not an engineer. We need communications, radio, VHF, whatever, you name it. And then we can go to the exploration part with the drones and the spectrometer or whatever it is they use, and then we can at very least have the Chinese or Canadian self-driving trucks, that etc., etc. But first than anything, we need countries that are friends, what we are friends with. We are friendly mostly to every country, at least, thank God, in the world, at least in the civilized world, right? And the Western and Asian civilized world. By what I mean by civilized is not rogue, violent, terrorist-sponsored nations.
I think that Argentina has
good relations with India, with China, with the United States, with the European Union.
Yes, but
right?
Argentina has or might have a silver bullet nowadays. That is, we are far from the problems.
The problem, Middle East, you would say, yes.
We will have what the world may require: minerals, food, oil, gas.
I'm going to add one more, which is climate security. We have very good climate. Argentina's climate is very friendly, despite being in the Andes.
You are going to say wine, but it's okay.
Of course. Let's not go. We need a special chapter on food.
But we might be facing once in a lifetime opportunity that we will have to be clever enough to get it.
But to be clever, what you need are good
No,
friends.
not clever. Smart is the word.
Smart. Okay, I understand. Yes, smart. But what you need also is good friends and good partners.
Of course.
That's what I was going to. I mean, we are lucky enough to be partners and friends with most of the best countries in the world in this moment. But we need this. We need to understand the mindset that made them successful. And we need these partners. We need the European Union. We need Germany. We need France. We need Canada. We need the United States. We need China, India, etc. We need this acumen. Open the doors, and we need people to come. Because as a nation, as a country, we cannot do it alone.
No.
Much less companies doing it alone. I think it's a very much larger issue. This is why I'm speaking about nations and not only companies, or perhaps even governments.
Yeah, but
Does it make sense?
yes,
Because it's
you
a
see it
larger
as an issue. I see it as an opportunity.
Well, where there is a challenge.
I might be so optimistic, but I see it as an opportunity.
I wish were. What's the opportunity, guys?
I think that mainly because minerals are not only a commodity, are critical, are
Yes.
something that all the industries and governments are requiring for defense, industrial, for our special industry, for whatever. It's something that is really needed for development, and Argentina can be an strategic partner of those countries that you mentioned that are friends of us. But I think that the main challenge is if we can be a trustable partner for them.
Yeah.
If we can commit for those developments and export and extract the mineral and export, and not just that we need and to do all the developments that we need, not only to export raw materials but also to add some to add value to those and can commit to long-term policies and long-term agreements. That's I think that's the main pain point for our country, because if we are going to be a strategic part of the chain for minerals, for the supply chain for minerals, we need to be trustable, and that's
going to take a lot of time.
That takes time.
That's going to take. But it also is going to take a lot of pressure from us. I believe, as the population of Argentina, I'm speaking to my Argentinians countrymen, we need to stop whinging and complaining about all the idiotic, stupid people that we have been voting in the last 30 years. Because when you're a democracy, you have to take ownership and start making them accountable for their stupidity and their very, very small gains and the very small things they have done right. But it's about us. That's number one. And number two, in order to bring this home, and then we'll go to a rapid fire session, is like, if we were to summarize 3 actions, our roadmap, and summarize it in 3 actions, what would it be? I mean, let me tell you: invest in roads, make an agreement with a foreign nation that can bring capital and manpower and know-how, or one of those, making a free trade agreement on copper with Chile. I don't know, train more engineers. I don't know, just let me know the first 3 actions. This is, when they say, okay, let's make a strategy, but it's about having full massive actions, at least in 3 Schwerpunkt, the Germans would say, like 3 pressure points.
On one hand, I think we have the mines, we have some companies established, we have some projects running on. So I think that maybe logistics is one of for me is one key point.
Okay.
State policies
but that will be
regarding the how to be efficient in the industry is the second one. And maybe my point of view, I think we have to try to make an agreement with Chile for export through Chile.
Okay. And
I think that not only to export from Chile, but also to do an agreement to explore synergies with Chile and a lot of things that we can develop together.
Okay.
It's not just we are not competing in this, we both extract minerals and trade with them, but we'll get more if we go together and we do a joint initiatives to explore the different synergies that they are close to the ocean than from the Andes than us. They have some know-how. We have resources. We have good technology too. We have a lot of things to develop, so we can. I think that our first step should be to develop more synergies with Chile. Then we have a lot of things we can do with the private companies, developing educational centers, a lot of logistics. But I think that the main, if I will take those kind of decisions, I go to see our neighbors and start from there.
Yeah.
Start from neighbors. Okay, guys, to wrap this up, and we'll go to a rapid fire session. If you are an investor, not only in a private company, but also in a government's body or arm of investment, this can be a very, very huge opportunity. Argentina has the unexploited potential. Not only the potential, we still do not know what we have in there. We haven't opened the full placard, the full coffer
Closet.
to see the closet. Yeah, well, placard is also a word in English. Le placard. En français, pero sí, the whole coffer and to see what's in there. We know there's jewelry from grandma, but there may be other things interesting. And that's the first thing. The second thing is the conditions are beginning to improve for investors. The political climate seems to be changing. The attitude seems to be changing. And third, of course, the international conditions are at this moment favoring countries like Argentina and perhaps even, let's be honest, Chile, Brazil, Bolivia, etc., Peru, etc. So do not think about only this nation in South America, but think about the southern cone. I would open a map and see, what's in there, okay? Now we go to our rapid fire session, which I will open with this word. Yes. If you were to intoxicate, you had to intoxicate yourself by eating, what would it be? Copper or iron?
I think I will try iron. Better. It's better when you are your defense are low. They give you iron, not copper.
Yes,
but I don't know.
But as I'm engineer and I believe in
science, not in God.
Intrinsic properties.
Yes.
Meat has a lot of iron. So I will eat a lot of iron coming from the cow.
We promise we will give you guys a special food and wining and dining in Argentina. Yes, we're going to give you a special because this is too arid. Yeah. Okay. So who goes next?
I have a question.
For me. Okay.
Yeah, for you.
Okay. Please do not speak about the AC/DC concert that was the other day in Buenos Aires. I couldn't get my tickets. I'm so pissed. Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry.
His fault, not ours.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. His problem, not ours.
I'm sorry.
You wish the mining sector in Argentina should be seen as full of potential as Taylor the creator, or full of magnetism as Dua Lipa?
Opa! That is terrible.
Do we have to jump in there?
No, I know.
That was necessary.
I love the question. I would choose Dua Lipa.
No.
Every single time over mostly everything in the world, including the US dollar and the British pound. I would choose Dua Lipa first. That's a first. Nevertheless, in this case, I would go with Tyler the Creator. And I have the rationale for that.
Shoot.
First, Tyler came to Buenos Aires in the last Lollapalooza. I was there. He was amazing. He was totally amazing. He mastered our language. He mastered the art of the Argentinian insult, which we are one of the best insulters in the world. You guys should try our insults. You will love them. So in this case, I would let Dua go, and I would choose Tyler. And the rationale is this. If the mining sector needs to develop, it needs to be polymathic. A polymath. It needs to create its own roads, It needs to create its own infrastructure. It needs to bring in capital investment. It needs to create an image. That is what Tyler, the creator, is doing. He creates his music, his clothes, his branding, etc., etc., etc. So I would peg it to Tyler, the creator. Yeah, every single time. I love you, Dua, nevertheless.
Oh.
If you're watching,
You're flushing.
guys, we never know.
Flushing.
How do we, of course I'm flashing. Of course.
At least there's a minor chance, but there's one.
There is one. I mean, how many people on the planet? 8 billion. But there is one in 8 billion that
Yeah.
at this moment, Dua Lipa in her flat in London is listening to our this shit instead of listening to, I don't know, whatever Dua Lipa listens.
Okay. Next question.
I have one for you too.
Yeah, okay. Shoot.
Silver and gold from U2 or Iron Man from Black Sabbath?
Iron Man from Black Sabbath.
That's amazing.
No doubt.
Such a great
No doubt.
question.
No doubt.
Such a great question. Okay.
Yeah.
Who wants next? Me?
You.
Okay. I don't know who wants to take this.
Mati first.
Mati goes first. Okay. What would you rather be? A drone pilot, if you had to work in the mining industry, a drone pilot, like pilot one of those amazing ex-military drones.
But from home.
I don't know.
It's a drone.
For a treasure truck,
It's a
whatever
drone,
you want,
okay.
yes. Or
Yeah.
would you be in one of those huge, amazing, like 10-meter high, 100 tons, giant trucks that bring
I
the
love
iron?
that. Yeah,
Okay.
the
Which
truck,
one would
yeah.
you take?
No, definitely the truck.
The truck?
Yeah,
Okay,
of course.
that's amazing. Okay, good. Well,
Yeah,
what
the other
about
would
you?
be it's like playing in the,
But you can play. You can play. You're a
Yeah,
bomber.
but-
You can play. You can pretend.
it's
you're,
like PlayStation. It's,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Due to the fact that I have some personal risk involved, I prefer the drone.
You will have the wrong from the
If I
from,
crash the drone,
No
I
problem.
will be losing money.
and
not
you
my
can
life.
do it from home.
Yeah,
also.
of course.
Okay. If it crashes, then the other. Okay.
Mati,
Yeah.
Iron Maiden or Metallica? Speaking about metal.
No, Metallica.
Why?
I don't know. I like it better. I like Iron Maiden, but I prefer Metallica.
But
I
the
think
Iron
it's maybe
the Sandman.
their songs are a little bit different. It's not just maybe the others are more the same the
No.
structure, but I think that
disagree.
I prefer
But
Metallica.
it's okay, but it's about you.
But
Okay.
okay, Mati said this. Why don't you agree? So you
Because-
prefer Metallica?
No, I prefer Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden. Okay.
Iron
Why?
Maiden. Mainly because it's more
More 70s.
musical.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Metallica comes from the death of thrash metal.
Okay.
In the
But
origins.
not all the songs.
In the origins.
In the origins,
They
yeah,
made,
the beginning,
they made an improvement,
Yeah,
a
of
musical
course, of
improvement.
course.
But
Some would disagree with the word improvement. They changed. Because,
I think they
Okay,
improved.
okay.
Although most
it's okay,
people,
it's okay. It's your point of view.
most people do not like mainly load and reload and
Okay.
the record that they changed. I do prefer them, but Iron Maiden, I think it's more. It's got best melodies, better melodies, better lyrics,
Yeah.
mainly better voices, and they were one of the fathers of
You're
metal.
such a
No,
classic
I-
man.
I-
You're a classic lover, Edu. You're a classic.
Absolutely.
In my ranking
Absolutely.
is AC/DC, Metallica, Iron Maiden. But you ask me about Metallica, Iron Maiden. Metallica is the second.
Okay,
Okay.
you can choose one of the three. You prefer it.
No,
your
I
preference,
mentioned
of course.
AC/DC, Metallica,
that's-
Iron
that's
Maiden.
your
That's
pecking order.
the top three.
That's a
so
pecking
he
order.
asked me
Okay.
about
Yes.
just
Don't mention AC/DC, please.
If I had to make a similar ranking, I may say Iron Maiden, then AC/DC. In third place, I will not choose Metallica. I'll choose.
they are not going to offend. Don't worry.
I know. They might be listening. But the third one is Deep Purple.
Deep Purple. Okay, but nevertheless,
And Zeppelin goes close there.
okay, yeah, and we can begin.
that's a lot of.
Yes, that's a lot. That's a
Yeah.
At some point, we're going to arrive at Pink Floyd, but doesn't have a reference to
You're moving
to
from metal. We're speaking about metal.
Metal.
Today's mining metal.
What about
Yeah.
the Eagles of death metal? What about?
Death metal is
You don't like it?
all of noise.
Well, my mother, who is a Mozart and Bach lover,
Yeah.
said exactly the same. Or she'd listen to the Traviata from Verdi, etc.
Yeah.
She would say the same about Metallica or AC/DC.
Agree.
Okay.
But death metal is a ball of noise.
A lot of things. Okay. Many people would disagree.
Yeah.
Eagles of Death Metal, I like it. And there's another group which I like a lot. That is Disturbed. I know. Have you listened to Disturbed?
Yes, I do. I did, but
I really like it. I love David Dramer's, the lead singer. His attitude towards the public. He goes and speaks to the public and speaks to the kids.
I agree.
I think they are changing the image of hard metal, because you see this guy like whoa, and then he goes to speaks to little 6-year-old girls. Hi, how are you? And you say they're changing an image with this. I know if that change is the best for the best or not. Many people wouldn't like it, but I think it is.
no, the problem with the death metal is the speed.
The speed.
They prefer
It's
speed.
very fast. It's very
Speed rather
fast.
than music.
It's too fast for you.
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder what our producer, who is a musician, he's a prize nominee. We're still expecting the prize for our producer. They will, if they don't give a prize to our producer, they will taste the iron.
Yeah.
They will taste what iron.
Yeah, they will.
That they won't have to intoxicate themselves eating of the judges. Okay, guys, we're gonna wrap this up.
Yeah.
I want to make a special mention. We just spoke about the world situation right now and our vantage point in Argentina. Please do not think we are insensitive to what is going on around the world, and especially in the Middle East, and very especially to our colleagues and friends in places like Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Qatar. We know you guys are going through a lot. We are under fire. We feel for you. And very, very special, heartfelt embrace to our brothers, sisters, friends, family in the miraculous nation of Israel. You have been going through a lot, and we feel for you. And the best we can hope for is peace on earth. So that's up for me. Thank you very much. This is Finance Rockstars, your personal finance and music experts. If you're in the mining industry or any other investment industries, just send us an email to hello@financerockstars.net and we'll be there for you. My name is Patricio Cavalli.
Matías Tejero.
Eduardo Martínez.
We are produced by Ignacio Herbojo from Caja Mágica Studios, which is Magic Box Studios here in Buenos Aires. We thank you for listening and watching us. Leave us our comments, and we'll see you again in a couple of weeks. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.